Rolex leaks before Watches and Wonders. Are these real? Are they dog shit? Who knows? But we're here to talk about them. So, British Watchmakers Day is over, and I know a lot of you guys will now be waiting for mine and Terry's review of the gimlet, because, well, we both have one, don't we, Terry?
We do indeed.
Yeah, neither of us could resist it. I was queuing up, considering this was an event that opened at 10, I was queuing up with people at 6:30. People were there from 6 o'clock, and it was an amazing, amazing day. And the launch event the night before was amazing, met some of my idols, but I got home, and what do I see? Well, it's not time to record the gimlet review. It's time to talk about Rolex leaks, because it's Rolex, and these may be end up being some of the biggest watch releases of the year. So let's get into it. Right, guys, I just want you to know, take all of this with a pinch of salt. This is pure speculation. There's only one shred of evidence to go with any of this. Okay? So don't get mad at us if none of this ends up being true. Deal, Terry?
It's a deal.
Deal. Okay, perfect. So, guys, we'll talk about each of the watches in order. So, first of all, we have what looks to be I'll zoom in more. Right, that's about as zoomed as I can get in. So, it looks to be a yellow gold Daytona on Oyster Flex. But what's interesting about this? Well, it features a Tiffany blue dial. And honestly, I don't like how it looks. It's very garish. I feel like the mixture of Tiffany blue with yellow gold is just a little bit much. Obviously, it's not going to be a Tiffany stamped dial or anything, although it does seem to feature 5 lines of text. Yeah, it features a lot of text. Oh, that's how much a normal Daytona has on the dial. So it doesn't have anything interesting on the dial. It just features the normal amount of text for a Rolex dial. So I didn't even realize the Daytona dial was that busy. It never registered, but guys, not a big fan of that one if it's real. So next up, we have it's essentially, it's sort of like a Sprite. So guys, it seems to be a Rolex Sprite, so a left-handed GMT, except now, if you compare the two, it's got a bright green dial as well. Not a big fan of this one. It's a bit much, honestly. Honestly, I'm not too keen on either of these releases at all. This middle row of releases we'll leave till last. Bottom left as well, we seem to have a root beer GMT. So full ever rose gold GMT. It's got a black and brownish bezel, but this has been called the Eye of the Tiger because it seems to have a stone dial made of tiger eye quartz. Honestly, this could really be a vibe. So if this is real, I won't be mad at it at all. It actually looks pretty damn nice. And next up actually looks quite nice as well. If you're familiar with Rolex, you'll be familiar with this watch, the full yellow gold green dial Daytona, sometimes nicknamed the John Mayer. And what we've seen in this release, or this leak rather, again, take it with a big pinch of salt, is a green dial full yellow gold Sky Dweller. Not really my bag, but I think it does look really, really cool. And since we know that they've done this exact sort of thing as a Daytona before, I think this is very, very plausible, something that they could be looking at doing, because the John Mayer sort of became a hype watch, and I think this could very well be exactly the same. I think it does look quite cool, and it's very sort of on brand for Rolex, so I think there's a very good chance that could be real. Now, the final watch, or watches, that we've got to talk about are these three. The Land Dweller. Immediately looking at these, they are very reminiscent of a previous model, the Rolex Oyster Quartz. So, integrated bracelet, very, very cool. Much flatter links. So if we have a look at the leak, it looks like they are much flatter links again, and again, integrated bracelet. That would be really interesting if it was brought back. But does that mean it's quartz? Does it mean it's quartz? And what materials do we think we're getting? Well, before we talk about the movement or what this watch might be, let's talk about the materials. So the dial of the right-hand one does seem to be ice blue, which does indicate it'll be a platinum model. The middle one definitely looks like it's ever rose. And the one on the left It's a white dial. People have speculated it's steel. I'd make a guess at either white roller saw or white gold. The reason I don't think it's full steel is because it's got polished center links, and generally when Rolex do these polished center links, especially with a fluted bezel, as you can see on all three of these, it does indicate at least the bezel is precious metal. So genuinely don't think this will be a full steel model. That's definitely not a steel bezel. I reckon that's a white roller saw. In the middle, Everose, full Everose, and on the right, I think that's platinum. Honestly, if this is real, that's going to be mind-blowing. And we can actually see, if we go over, it says Rolex Oyster Perpetual Land Dweller. Land Dweller. So we've got Sea Dweller. Could this be a land dweller? And it says superlative chronometer officially certified. So it does indicate that it may be using the aesthetic of the oyster quartz, but it's not going to be a quartz model, which makes me very happy, if I'm being honest. It's got a date window at 3 o'clock, but it also features that Explorer-esque 6 and 9 index, which is really interesting, especially since they've also got the crown at 12. So it's like a bastardization of a Datejust, an Explorer, and an oyster quartz. And I'm sort of here for it, especially with that sort of squashed honeycomb dial motif. It's something really unique, and I think Rolex have missed something new and exciting, a new sort of sports model in their collection, and this could be it. I don't think it's going to be everyone's cup of tea. It's a bit different to some of the other stuff that they've got in their collection. I think it's going to be divisive, but I always love to see Rolex doing something a little bit new and interesting, even if it's a vintagey reissue like this one is. But I mentioned there's some proof of one of these releases, because at the moment, this could all just be bullshit speculation, and it very likely is, but we're talking about it anyway because it's a Rolex possible leak. But this is the speculation. So there was a trademark issued on, by the looks of it, the 4th of November 2024, and this trademark was for the Land Dweller. Apparently the trademark is live, and the trademark was issued by Rolex Watch USA. That's all. That is all of the confirmation that we have. Does that mean it's true? What do you think, Terry?
I think it's pretty damning evidence. If I'm being completely honest, why else would it be registered?
I think it's certainly possible, but I don't think it's conclusive. I don't think it's conclusive. Brands like Rolex do register trademarks all the time that they're never going to use. So I don't think it's conclusive. If these are fake leaks, then someone may have seen that Rolex registered this trademark and now they're trolling us based on a real trademark.
There could be elements of truth in that.
So I'm not holding my breath on any of these releases, guys, on any of them being real. But I wanted to talk about them because especially the Land Dweller could end up being one of the biggest watch releases of Watches and Wonders, because it's an entirely new Rolex collection. Especially the name Land Dweller, that's not a name we've even seen before. And the fact it's bringing back an oyster quartz shaped case, I think it could be really significant within the collection. People have speculated already at full solid gold oyster perpetuals or stone dial Datejusts and all of these amazing things, but I reckon a resurrection of this integrated bracelet flat link oyster quartz like design would be really cool. I do think the dial's a bit busy on it though. So Terry, what do you think of all of these?
I do like the Sky Dweller in green. That is pretty gorgeous.
That is really cool. Also, Tiger Eye dial root beer.
Don't like the Sprite.
Yeah,
I think the Sprite's pretty ugly.
A green dial Sprite. It's taking what was already a hideous watch and making it more hideous. And that Tiffany blue Daytona. I think that's going to be popular, but with people, with a very specific set of people.
Have we seen that dial for the Land Dweller before?
So the closest thing I can think of the dial looking like is something like, what was discontinued last year, and that's this, the fluted dial. That's the closest I can think of. It's sort of like a fluted dial, except these parts aren't segmented. It's all in one. Lots of little hexagons and slightly less squashed. But yeah, I think it could be a really cool release. That's the closest parallel I can think of. And it's nice when Rolex does like these motif dials, because they got rid of them all last year. So it would make sense if they wanted to introduce another one.
No matter what you think of these releases, I think we can all agree they're nicer than the Cubitus.
I'd rather a Cubitus than that Daytona or that Sprite.
You wouldn't be allowed a Cubitus.
No, I wouldn't. Fuck Thierry Stern. But guys, what do you think? Do you think they're real? Do you think they're fake? Are you angry at us for covering pure speculation? Well, we've made it clear it's speculation. We're not trying to present it as true, so to you. And did you manage to get a gimlet at British Watchmakers Day? Because our review is coming later on in the week, so get ready for that. So go down to the comments. Whilst you're down there, why not like, subscribe, ding that bell icon so you never miss another video, and why not click that join button, support the channel directly, just like all of these lovely people on screen now. They are lovely. Thank you very much to them, and you are also lovely if you've watched it this far into the video. So thank you very much, and watch yourselves.